Say hello. Welcome back today. Guys, we're going to be doing a little bit of a project on the John Deere Tractor. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while. It's a little bit of a Christmas present to my father this past year. We got a LED light bar. So the original plan was to have a whole thing from the battery back, but after talking it over a little bit, we discovered it'd be better just to tap into the existing lights on board here. So we have these pod lights on the side here. We got one here, one there, you know, obviously the hazards. And then we have headlights on the tractor too. So the reason we're doing this is because we have a switch already built into the dash here that controls all these lights, as you can see. We figured it'd just be better to have it run through here. So I'm going to tap into these pod lights today. I've marked out my center line for the middle here where I'm going to drill my holes. So pretty much what we're going to be doing is tapping into this wiring harness right here. This runs the 12 volt here cigarette lighter and this pod light here, I believe, too. We can see here that it's the black and pinkish purple wire here running to this pod light, and I'm going to be tapping into this pod light. So we are going to be trailing those all the way back, and we see we have the black and the purple pinkish wire here, right here. So we're going to clip these two wires first, test the voltage, make sure that they're right, and then we're going to solder in a T-joint, you know, use the heat shrink, add the corrugated tubing on it, and run the wires. So that's next. Please disconnect the battery if you're working with electrical stuff, especially if you're cutting wires, especially if you're doing that. So please do me that favor, make sure you're doing this safely, make sure you test your wires before you cut them, and just disconnect the battery completely before you cut anything or before you touch anything, because you never know. So we're going to take the terminals off battery just so I don't shock myself. Now, the last person, which is honestly probably myself a couple years ago, to put a new battery in this, over tightened it. So this has been pretty squeezed on there. So, and I can't pull it off very easily. So a little change in our plans here. We're actually going to use this tubing on the outside. Can't really get it through the hole on the top here, and I don't really want to drill any more than I have to on this project. Just to keep everything kind of nice, I'm going to be taping the wire every so often. Because I clipped these two, the length on them is a little tight. So to help make things a little bit easier, I'm actually going to solder on an extra length of piece of wire. Spliced in the wires. I made my T-joints. So as you can see, we have our two wires running up and through to the LED. Just to make sure it works, let's put our switch on. All the lights are on, and we have lights, very bright lights. It's not that dark out right now, but as you can see, it's shining pretty bright on my truck. Now what I'm going to do is solder up those two right there on the, I just had them twisted. I'm going to solder these up, and then we're going to go ahead and drill the holes for the LED bar. Alright guys, I just finished the project. It's a little dark out. You know, it's kind of good though because you can see it. Here you guys go. That's it. It's pretty freaking bright, yeah. And it overpowers everything. But here it is at night. Got the tractor running. That is the hazards. Those are the front headlights. And then this is the whole thing. All the lights on. When you have your bucket up like this, you know, you go down, you can see. But when you come up, oh my God, you can't see where you're going. So now you can. You can see the whole freaking yard you're in. No matter what, higher, you could raise it all the way up, all the way down. Doesn't matter. So another thing I mentioned earlier is that there's no reverse light on this tractor. So if you're trying to do some digging with the backhoe here, you just flip this light around and you can see where you're digging. Now you're gonna be moving side to side, but at least you can see where you're going.